to take your game to the next level, you want to be a world champion, take the fighter training stack. Victor Conte's fighter training stack has brought me to the next level. Everything that I take on a daily basis, the fighter training stack is the best thing out right now. Devin Haney, I'm Snack Strong. Get it now, right now.
As far as the franchise champion, it was nothing that we ever set out to do. It's so new of a status, and I wouldn't say it's an actual championship. It's not a belt because you can't set out to win it, you know, and anything that you can't win or defend, I wouldn't say it was a belt. I would say it's a status. So franchise status being that Lomachenko, the decorated champion that he is, and I take nothing from Lomachenko and his team. They did a wonderful job. And I think that he chose not to fight Devin, or not to even consider Devin as one of his opponents when Devin was the interim champ. When Devin was being considered as the mandatory, there was never no talks or discussions or negotiations as far as the Devin, Haney, and Lomachenko fight, which to me meant that Devin would ultimately probably either fight for the vacant belt, or he would then, of course, be awarded the full championship. So the interim belt with Zaur Abdullayev secured that. To me, in my opinion, that was the his actual world title fight.
A lot of fans feel that they did that to avoid a fight with your son. Do you feel that they're trying to avoid a fight with your son?
I mean, styles makes fights, you know, and like I said, not thinking for their team or what their strategy was, they chose to not fight Devin for whatever reason that it was, and it was no, you know, slight or spite towards us. I believe that as Devin has a style that will pose a threat to anyone.
So when the whole thing happened, were you happy with it? Or did you prefer to go into a fight to get the title?
I mean, of course, you want to fight. You want Devin to be able to showcase his skills, and want to be able to showcase his skills against you know, the top of the competition, and you want him to excel. When the top of the competition chooses to not fight, then that's kind of like, you know, the fan's favorite fighter is a fan of Devin's, so to speak, respecting his work ethic, his approach to boxing. And when they say, you know, I'll pass, then to me that's you know, it's a sign of respect. Lomachenko never has disrespected Devin openly, and I don't think that we should disrespect him. I think it is a tribute to Devin's skills and his work ethic that you know, made Lomachenko choose to pass on the fight at that time. To say that the fight will never happen, I couldn't say that. I wouldn't say that against Lomachenko and his team. But I will say that at that particular time, they chose not to negotiate for a fight, and they haven't up until thus far right now.
Did they tell you the reason as to why they chose to not negotiate for a fight, or the reason why they didn't want to do that at all? Well,
no, they didn't. I think it was to their understanding that from what I'm seeing in the press, because I've seen that he said undisputed. I've seen also Mr. Suleiman, he said undisputed as well. But actually, that undisputed to me is a word that's left to interpretation. Of course, with the four belts, up until thus far, we considered undisputed as having all four belts. When you brought in the franchise status, it kind of murked up the water a little bit in terms of just being undisputed. So when things are left, you know, they're disputed. When they have dispute with them and they're no longer undisputed, they are disputed. And I think Devin's belt, the WBC lightweight world title, definitely solidifies a dispute and the undisputed argument.
So he gets those other belts. He can't call himself undisputed until he fights your son.
Well, we don't think so. I mean, and I think it's a big consensus of individuals that think the same way that I do. Lomachenko definitely has fans who feel that, you know, because he fought for the WBC vacant belt against Luke Campbell, that should solidify that he is the WBC champion. But ironically, it was a timing issue that came that Devin and the convention, where they ruled that, you know, that they made the ruling, that the franchise ruling. I think that any other ruling would have made Devin and Lomachenko have the fight. But up until that point, we were thinking it was going to be a Lomachenko fight, and then I heard that Bob Arum had requested the franchise tag. So once that happened, you know, we felt that we had challenged the pound for pound guy. We had also entered into the WBC tournament that they had with Teofimo and Javier Fortuna and Zaur Abdullaev. I think that we did everything. We had fought and challenged everyone that we possibly could challenge in the BC. So to be the full champion, I think it was appropriate myself.
Do you guys still think you will eventually get a fight with Lomachenko, or do you think he's going to move down and pursue other fights?
Well, like I said, I mean, we're being in the Devin Haney business. We want to make the best fights, and of course, Lomachenko is being described as, you know, one of the greats in the sport. And like I said, I don't take anything away from him. I totally respect what him and his team are doing. But I mean, we differ. We think different. We don't think that about him. We think that he's a beatable fighter. We think he's at the end of a very short professional career, meaning 12 or 13 fights. I don't think it's 13, 14 fights. So we just think that this is a perfect time, and I think that any other time that they allow the fight to happen, I think it'll get worse for Lomachenko in terms of that.